Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
Yep.
And I'm Daniel.
Yes, and we're again continuing the MCU-athon with the third entry, which is called Iron Man 2, which came out in 2010. And before we get into it, we should mention that this movie was always considered, this and the Hulk were always considered the lessers of the movies in the first three phases. This one, Hulk, and Thor: The Dark World are always unanimously labeled as the worst of the MCU at the time. So we watched it, and what did you guys think? How does it hold up? What did you guys think of Iron Man 2?
Definitely like it a little less from what I remember.
Okay, yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
I think it was okay also. It's unfocused because you have Ivan Vanko doing his evil things, and then it contrasts to a majority of the movie is spent with Stark and him knowing that he's dying and he's trying to go all out and do things. And then it gets intercut with Vanko's evil things, and it's kind of a mess.
And Justin Hammer trying to undermine Stark.
Yeah, well, he's the best part of the movie. Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer is definitely the best part of the movie. And dare I say, the brief Senate hearing in the beginning of the movie is the best part.
It kind of goes
yeah.
downhill from there.
Yeah. I like to point out that test pilot survived.
Yeah, the beginning, I don't even say the beginning, just that part is amazing. And then, yeah, everything else is kind of a mess.
Yeah.
Because I know people were upset when they turned Justin Hammer into more of a joke character, but I loved that. I love that he was the incompetent Tony Stark, that Tony was just like bullying, like just bullying constantly.
Yeah, I thought, well, I know he is an evil guy in the comics. He has his hammer tech, whatever it's called. But in the
Hammer
comics,
Industries.
yeah, it's hammer and there's a dot after each letter because it stands for something. I don't know what it
I
stands
think that
for.
was a later thing, but
Oh,
he was supposed to be a rival defense contractor, but I think he was supposed to be an older man. I
oh,
guess
not yeah,
the
not young.
contrast to Tony's youngness, but it doesn't really matter. I like that he was just bullying Justin Hammer. Like, I'm pro bullying.
Yeah, he is the incompetent, jealous underling to Stark. And he always calls Stark Anthony, and at the Senate meeting, yeah, Anthony and I are friends. Go Iron Man.
Is
It's
that
weird. Like, I just it's so weird hearing him as Anthony.
is that Anthony Stark? It's my least favorite person in the world. Justin Hammer, how are they were great together. But I agree with you, Colin. The movie can't streamline its thought process. And I thought, looking back, either if they were going to do a Russian villain, they should have just done Crimson Dynamo, much more well known villain for
That
Iron
would have
Man.
made more sense.
And especially if you're doing the military side of it, right? The Russians, you could have the Russians are testing the Iron Man tech and they have an evil scientist, Crimson Dynamo. Easier than some guy from his father's past who Tony didn't know at all. I
I'm assuming. Yeah, I'm assuming that's why
it's
they did it.
yeah, yeah. It made me think of, because I haven't seen this one in some time. It made me think of Iron Man's villains becoming Spider Man's villains. Oddly enough, like someone that is not even a part of his life becoming his problem. But I just think the easier fix, and also just for better fan services, just have Crimson Dynamo.
Well, let me tell you what I'm probably thinking. Why they didn't do the Crimson Dynamo, even though it would have made sense. It probably was too much like the Ironmonger.
That's what I was thinking too. But to your
Even though it
point
would
of,
make sense, but that's probably why.
also to your point of having a villain he doesn't know about, I'm pretty sure the point they're trying to get at is his past catching up to him. I think it was pretty clearly part of the movie, but
Wasn't even
I
his
just
past though, it was his father's
that's
past.
the thing. Like, it has to actually be something he did. Like, I think the Iron Man 3 storyline did that better, whereas him,
Yes.
granted, it wasn't well done there, but
Yeah,
the idea of someone he screwed over in the past coming back to haunt him, I think, is a better idea than
Yeah.
his
but
dad
then
screwing someone over.
His dad just made a mess for him.
But his dad didn't even, from what they said, they tried to say his dad stole the thing, but no, they said his, I forget the guy's Vanko's
yeah.
father
Ivan.
took the, yeah,
No,
Ivan,
Anton.
Ivan,
Anton
Anton,
is the father.
Anton.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Anton
He tried to
Vanko.
sell it. He tried to sell the arc reactor technology, I think, and then
Yeah, I think he was
Howard.
like a KGB spy, so yeah,
Yeah.
the Fury said, yeah, he couldn't even deliver for the Soviets, so he was sent to Siberia as a punishment. So clearly, wasn't even a bad guy. Like, he probably got what he deserved, or he was a bad guy, he got what he deserved.
Yeah, that's the
I
big issue. If you, like
yeah,
Craig said, if you're trying to have someone from the past, it has to be directly from their
yeah,
past, not their father's past.
yeah. Because after he initially tries to kill Tony, and where they're in Monaco, right? After he kills him, or he tries to kill him, you almost forget he's in the movie, because once the movie goes into Stark being on house arrest, unlocking the new element, and realizing his father didn't hate him, you forget Ivan is in the movie for that
Yeah.
long stretch where Stark is fixing himself. I just think they should have either you focus on Stark fixing his ego and fixing his past, or you I think the better approach would have been, okay, he declares himself Iron Man, focus on the conflict of the military trying to get his equipment and where he falls in line of being a superhero and working with the government, and then potentially now even making it more of a global matter of other governments trying to get his tech. I think that would have just been the better focus.
Yeah, I feel like they had too many storylines going on. They
Dare
kind
I
of
say that
mashed
this
together in one
movie was
movie.
probably too short, even though it has a 125-minute runtime. If they just devoted more time to certain parts, it seemed like they tried to get the best of both worlds by having all these storylines, but none of them are all developed properly. Especially the
Yeah.
Ivan one just gets dropped at after he gets apprehended. You just forget about him for a while, and then oh look, Justin Hammer
Well,
fakes his death in prison, and then he helps Justin Hammer.
but and then also he just discovers and he just creates a new element like that from his father's expo layout.
Yeah, that was
What?
so weird. Like,
The
why
glo-
would you hide that?
Yeah, the globe, especially at the expo layout, right? Was that where he got his inspiration from to create a new element?
Yeah, and then he starts stripping away at the expo layout and then opens up the globe, and apparently we're in the atom of a new element. Okay.
Sure, bro. Yeah, that was a little ridiculous.
Because I think his spiral should have been a little more gradual. I think you could have him slowly spiraling. He starts losing control. There's so many things with the political front and stuff like that, and you're dealing with Justin Hammer and other countries trying to get your, and then you have to worry about your own company. I think it's just his spiral felt very, and I know he was, and also I the thing his palladium roding in his chest and killing him, even though he designed it initially. I don't know. I think him with the reactor. I think you can cut that out. The reactor killing him
Well,
slowly.
I will say though,
I think there's enough external things happening.
yeah, that is true.
I think should be more of a focus.
But I like seeing superheroes vulnerable, and I thought it was great that he's coming to terms with his own mortality because we have so many superheroes who are essentially invincible. We have the Hulk, Batman somehow, and then Superman, where nothing seems to affect them, and then a hero coming to terms that they might die, and he's trying to do things. I don't think it's done particularly well, but I like the thought of this.
I agree.
Seemingly invincible person is dying, and
Yeah.
invincible is in quotes. Obviously,
I
he's
just
not.
think
He's just
maybe they
human.
could have transferred some of the storylines into its own movie. I know Dino's saying maybe focus on maybe the other people trying to copy his tech. I just think there's too much going on, storyline wise. You got
Yes.
him dying.
There really is.
You got
Many plot
Bango.
holes.
You got Hammer. You got
Yeah, Black
people
Widow.
trying to- yeah, the shield and that stuff.
Yeah,
Which is
Shield
also
trying to
tacked on.
recruit him and whatnot.
I think the first thing they could have cut out of this was Whiplash. I felt of all that though, he was the most useless because it doesn't lead. It doesn't lead really in terms of long term for the actual MCU. It doesn't lead to anything. I don't know where I was going with that. I feel like cutting him out would have been the least offensive thing.
Yeah, I
If that
think
makes
they
any
just
sense.
wanted Tony to fight somebody, and the best they could find is Whiplash. Again, because Crimson Dynamo would make sense, but he is just like Ironmonger.
Well, it's funny you say that they were afraid of Crimson Dynamo becoming the Iron Man, but then Whiplash design he upgrades a Stark suit essentially.
that looks like the
He essentially makes
Ironmonger.
his own Stark suit.
But this one
Yeah.
has electrical blades on it, Daniel.
The
Ironmonger had
whips are such a
guns.
horrible weapon. I mean, I know Colin's going to disagree because he loves Indiana Jones, but whips are just a horrible weapon. Especially the original Whiplash in the comics is just some dude with whips.
Really?
I don't. Yeah. Pull up, like, look up Whiplash. It's just
Oh my
some dude running
God.
around with whips.
Which one? What's his name in the comics? Oh my god, dude, he looks so weird. Why does he have a cape?
I know it's not everything the powers, but I think you're supposed to be somewhat of a physical challenge to the heroes in some way.
He looks so silly.
Whiplash is
Because
such a
the-
joke compared to Iron Man. Granted, I
He
never
has
read the
the
Iron Man comics either, but
he has like his hair sticking out.
it looks like he belongs in a circus. He's like the lion tamer.
Yeah, he looks terrible. He's got a cape. He's got a satchel. What is this? So I'm assuming. I don't even know what to assume. Is the design of Whiplash in this movie based off of the Marvel Ultimate series? Like, where did they?
I think they just combined. I think they're trying to make it just more threatening because obviously leather whips, you can't hurt Iron Man with it, so you use the arc reactor.
He just shoot you with a missile and you die.
Yeah, you don't see like a man with actual leather whips hitting Iron Man's suit. Just... Oh, that kind of stung, I guess.
Ow.
He'd probably get tired whipping Iron Man before Iron Man had to do anything.
So I think he does work with. I think he does work with Hammer in the comics. Looking at this Wikipedia page,
Depends on which version, because there's been a couple.
it's like
The name.
1300. I'm looking at the Mark Scarlatti guy. Yeah, that's really dumb. He is a bad villain. His motivation doesn't really make a lot of sense because he's angry at Tony, even though Tony had nothing to do with it.
See, a villain that maybe they could have used. I know it'd be difficult to fight, but Ghost. Because if you're worried about people stealing his tech, I mean, Ghost is the perfect person for espionage and theft.
I think I saw somewhere on the development on this movie. It said that
Oh, really?
I think Ghost was considered for this or a sequel.
Again, it just depends on what you want to focus on. You want to focus on maybe the armor war. People
It says
taking
this. An early version of the film story involved Justin Hammer creating different villains, in addition to Whiplash, like Ghost. But the idea was discarded, so there have been multiple villains.
that probably would have worked out better. Get some, stealing his tech and stuff, and fighting other villains. Because you can't fight Justin Hammer. You can't put him in a suit. Although it would be funny, him like in an Iron Man suit, like nothing works.
Yeah.
Like he tries to shoot a missile, like it blows up in his face. Tries
Yeah,
to repulsor.
Or his armor rotates on him too far, like that pilot.
His back just breaks. Well, I also love the scene with Justin Hammer. Where he's showing all these weapons to Rhodey, and he's just saying like the weirdest things about these guns. These are my
He's like a sleazy car salesman.
These are the Monte Cristos, baby. This is the ex-wife that could destroy the bunker under your bunker or something like that. Oh, great! It's all great.
Pretty smart. I would write a book to you.
Yes, what?
I'll make Ulysses look like it was written in crayon. I would read it to you. This is my Eiffel Tower. This is my Romanov. This is my Pietà. It's completely elegant. It's bafflingly beautiful, and it's capable of reducing the size of the population of any standing structure to zero.
Are you reading that?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I call it the ex-wife.
You're like a sphinx. I can't read you. Yeah.
And of course, when the best joke in the movie by far, besides Justin Hammer, is when he uses the ex-wife and it doesn't work.
Yeah. Hammer tech. Yeah.
Like this movie's carried so hard by Iron Man and Justin Hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
Hammer
also
does
when
this,
Hammer
it's hard.
when Hammer's trying to unplug the TV, and then Tony goes, "Is that Justin Hammer? How did Hammer get in the game?" He goes, "Focus up, Justin. You're on TV." No, those two
He asked the
easily
question,
were
like,
the best
what's
part.
he, like revoked and canceled? Then he like, let's put the microphone away.
Yeah, but also it doesn't help. Vanko's just a weirdo in this movie. At least they didn't make him. At least they didn't make him sympathetic. I guess that's a +1 for them.
When people talk about bad MCU villains, they always seem to show Malekith. I mean, this guy I think might be worse. I can understand Malekith when he speaks. This guy, no one even knows what he's
I
saying
haven't
half the
seen
time.
Thor: The Dark World in such a long time, so we'll get to that episode eventually. But yeah, so far
All you can know, Craig, is he wants his Barton.
we're 3 movies
honestly,
in, and
who's-
he's the
whose
worst
idea-
one.
Whose idea was it to have a guy not speak? Like no one, even Justin Hammer was like, I don't understand what you are saying. Could you please? I know you can speak
I don't-
English. Could you please speak English to me?
Oh, yeah, he like freaked out. He goes, "I don't know if you know, I don't speak Russian."
I mean, honestly, that's what I felt as the audience member, the viewer. Like, I don't understand what you are saying. Could you please? I know you could say, oh, realistically, he's probably only can speak Russian, probably can't speak English, whatever, some defense for it. You're watching a movie. Have him speak English for the audience to understand him.
Yeah.
And obviously this applies to when it gets translated. You translate it into a language you can understand. I hate the
Or,
fact he's
yeah.
talking, you don't know what he's
Just
saying.
have subtitles or something, please.
Well, yeah, sometimes would solve it too. It just no one knows what he's saying, and I get the frustration because I was getting frustrated too. Like, what is this man saying? He's your main villain. This isn't some, in some movies they have the goon that you can't understand or something. That's the joke. Oh, like, you can't understand what the head grunt is saying.
Like
This is your
in
main villain.
the critically acclaimed movie Uncharted, where that guy with the thick Irish accent was talking to Tom Holland,
That was a
and then
thing.
yeah, this guy's huge, and he's gonna fight Tom Holland. He says something, and then Tom Holland's like, "What'd you say?"
Mr. Stark, what do you say?
Friday,
Jarvis,
translate.
yeah, Jarvis translated.
But he uses Friday.
Yes.
Well, this movie, that was another positive about this movie. It did start. Was this the first one that really had Jarvis like fully talking?
A little sass.
The movie is a giant mess, though. It
Yeah.
it did not age well, not in terms of VFX, but just I could see why this is ranked at the time regarded as one of the worst. It is a
It's funny now,
disaster.
this movie that's considered a mess is so much better than the stuff that we get that isn't a mess now.
Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah, 100%. But still, I mean, this is just they're just doing too much.
Colin or Craig, if either one of you know the behind the scenes, was there issues? Was Marvel pushing this on Favre, or was this Favre trying to include all this stuff?
I thought it was just a rushed production.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because when I remember looking at the stuff years ago, I think the success of the first one was such a surprise that they kind of rushed the second one, trying to get it out under 2 years. Because you remember when movies used to come out like every 2 years when a sequel? Maybe you have to wait 2 years or a year for a sequel. Now you have to wait like 5 years.
Yeah.
I hate this now about movies and TV shows. But I think that's why they were trying to meet the May deadline. They kind of rushed everything.
Yeah. It came out
Mm.
almost exactly 2 years later.
Yeah, I think their success caught them off guard then. And they're like, okay, we have to build up the MCU. Let's introduce Black Widow for the Avengers movie. Let's give Nick Fury a bigger role because we introduced him. Because I know they said the Hulk was the second movie, but it only came out a month after the first. So now, now they can really plan for the Avengers movie that was coming out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because Agent Coulson, who returns in this movie, he leaves saying that there's something in New Mexico, which we see in the end credit scene as Thor's hammer. So definitely in between after the Hulk, they definitely were developing more of the MCU.
I am curious though with we didn't cover this in the Hulk review, but the end credit scene of the Hulk.
Oh,
with
yes, the
Tony
Tony
going to
talking
speak
Ross.
with Ross. I don't know. I know that they're trying to set for the Avengers, but why would he go and talk to Ross?
So
Ross is the person that hunts the Hulk down.
I think that was just a blatant cameo, but I remember seeing a video. It was some 5-minute special attached to some movie where they tried to reframe that scene as they sent Tony to annoy Ross because Ross wanted to add, I think, Blonsky to the Avengers. So they sent Tony just to annoy the hell out of him and to kind of get Ross to back off from the Avengers and back off S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
I mean, granted, this probably isn't even canon anymore, but that was reframing that
Yeah.
scene. They
I
did it
wonder
to
how
annoy
many people
Ross.
actually remember that. But I just, I wonder. Because that one, I was like, why is he going to the guy that tried to kill the Hulk? Tried to hunt him down.
'Cause I think it was Sitwell and Coulson that reframed the scene. They were like talking how they used Tony to annoy Ross.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this now, but in 2017, when Spider-Man Homecoming was coming out, the director of that movie said that the little kid that puts his arm up to that drone at the end, and then Iron Man comes and saves him, that character has been retroactively established as a young Peter Parker,
I did see that because people wouldn't stop
Yeah.
posting that.
even though it was just
Oh,
Jon Favreau's son. Who was that? Who did that?
What?
Jon Favreau's son was the kid that did that. It was just a little cameo for his kid.
Yeah, and I just remember because people were, really trying hard to like say we forced this to become a thing. Like we kept
Yeah.
pushing because I think they don't think they try to say they think things through and they're 10 years
There's
ahead. We
no
all know they
way.
aren't.
Yeah, there's
No,
way,
no.
no shot.
But
Especially when there's rights issues with Sony. There's no way they could have possibly been like, yeah, we'll just put that here, just in case.
But that is one of the things I've noticed where they'll take fan suggestions or fan theories and make them canon just as like a throwing a bones to the fans. Like, yeah, I guess he could be Spider-Man. It doesn't really have to change anything. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I thought that was really dumb because just a kid with a little Iron Man get up because the kid's a fan. And I guess now he's too much of a fan where
All
Stark
makes
is
sense now.
Tom Holland's sugar daddy.
God.
I mean, you say it as a joke, but
No,
I
I'm
don't
serious.
think
That's
I
not a
mean,
joke.
no.
That's not a joke. Anything else about this movie?
everything I say is 100% real and a threat.
Dear federal agents. How do you guys feel about Black Widow's
Yeah.
inclusion?
It's pretty
I
forced.
think.
I mean,
Well, I was gonna say she functions well under Shield. This is her in the capacity of being a Shield spy and agent was fine. Now, does she need to be included in this movie? No. But I think this and Winter Soldier is as far as she should have gone. She should not have been in the Avengers and stuff like that. Or if she is in the Avengers, she should have been like what Maria Hill was, Fury's right hand.
That's where I think her role fits better.
Yeah. Espionage.
Like maybe instead of because why even infiltrate Stark Industries if Fury already has his eye on him? Like it didn't make any sense in the context of the movie.
Fury approached him and talked to him about it.
Oh, and also they said like now you're not Avengers worthy, now you're not worthy of the Avengers because you have too much of an ego.
Yeah, that was
Did you
dumb.
not do your research on the man? Did you not see him at the expo talking about, oh, it's not about me how I've settled the relations between the East and the West or I've privatized world peace? None of that.
Yeah.
It's even funny when he says you're a narcissist and he's like, I agree.
I think also something that I wish they had more of was Tony mentioning his father, and they had some of that, and obviously that's where he gets the whole idea of the element from. But I think it was really built up more in Civil War. But I wish there was more in this movie. With I want to say the detestment he had. I don't know if that's a word. He detested his dad. I don't want to say that, but his dad didn't get along with him. I wish there was more of that in this movie. Is what I'm saying.
Like actually see the scenes of his dad being mean to him.
Maybe that, or just him talking about it more. I don't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like the type to maybe open up, but I know there was
dying.
little,
I feel like that would kind of.
There's little breadcrumbs there, but I mean, not to go too far ahead, but I thought that was one of the best parts of Endgame was him and his dad. That little scene.
Oh, yeah.
To your point too, we always hear how bad his dad was. We've only ever seen good scenes of him. Like his dad obviously was a good guy, but we never really see him maybe be the mean father that people see the different side of him. Because basically everything, Tony in Civil War, it's him kind of struggling with his parents' death. But again, they didn't really do anything bad.
Yeah, because the dialogue.
Well, I think in that one though, not to cut you off, Daniel, but I think in that one he had that barf simulator, which apparently
that's what I was going to bring up.
But his dad was like, I don't remember exactly how his dad was acting, but he was brushing him off or something. Tony always liked his mom more than his dad.
Yeah. Well, his dad was just disappointed with how he's partying and he wasting his talents. The clips and bits and pieces we got of his dad, it seemed like his dad was just pushing him to be great. It wasn't in the fact that he beat him or anything or.
No, I wasn't implying that. Just,
yeah. No. Yeah, he was just tough, but in the sense he didn't want him to waste his talent, especially when he sees what his mind could unlock. But that's the sense I got from the dialogue in that barf simulator from Civil War. It wasn't like the dad was like, "Oh, you're a disappointment to me." It's more of, "Dude, shape up."
But yeah, maybe it was like what Colin's saying too. Have the scenes where maybe his dad's hard on him to kind of get the full picture. Maybe why Tony's mad, but then you get the dad's perspective. Like, I believe in you. You need a kick in the pants to
because in these movies it's more of, especially in the first two, because I don't think in the third one they really talk about his dad.
I don't think they did anymore. At
all. No.
Yeah, but I think in these two it was more about the only thing about his dad is his dad's legacy, and then other people talking about his dad, but never about, to Colin's point, never Tony and his dad.
Again, I just wish there was more of that because, as I said, I thought that was easily the best part of Endgame, was that nice scene where, I guess at that point, he really saw that his dad was never what he thought it was. And I wish there was more scenes, like Craig said, where we'd see, maybe not so much flashbacks, but him just talking about situations where his dad would lash out at him, maybe verbally, not him just beating him up to a pulp, but...
No, we're not picturing anything abusive, just more realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, just lashing out.
Tough love.
Yeah. Something like along those lines. That would have been a lot better. But this movie had too much going on. And like Daniel said earlier, it was ridiculous how he attains that new element by just getting a 3D hologram scan of the Stark Expo from 1974.
Well, I think this is a better scene than how we discovered time travel.
Oh, well, yeah, that was so ridiculous.
You ever heard people do research? They spend like years just writing scribbles on a piece of paper trying to figure something out, having their work checked by their peers, and he just in like an afternoon discovers time travel, new elements.
Yeah, he discovers time travel while not really trying to discover it. He was just running simulations. Wasn't like he was dedicating his life like how most scientists going after things do.
Well, and you build off other people's works. Don't just like all of a sudden, hey,
I discovered time travel.
Yeah, it took him 40 years to accomplish it, not 4 minutes.
Anything else on Iron Man 2?
Yeah, I think if you just...
I was I'll say,
God,
I know you made the joke in last Iron Man episode, but I guess the original inspiration for this movie was the demon in the bottle, where
I
Tony
did.
becomes an alcoholic,
Yeah, I did see
and
that
Rhodey takes control of the armor.
this was a little introduced. Not introduced. I think they said they wanted to do some of it in this movie, but
Yeah, it's boring watching a man drink himself.
it's boring and it's sad.
I mean, sure, it's sad, but movies can have sad stuff. The real one important thing is it's boring. Like you have the most biggest demographic is young male teens, probably young adults. It's not really fun to watch a superhero movie with the main characters drinking all the time.
Well, to go to your point, Craig, where when I say sad, it's not that these movies can't do it. It's that they won't do it because, as you said, they have to appeal to a certain demographic, and they don't want kids. And what's really a kids movie? Like these Avengers movies are kids, and they can cater to some adults too, but they don't want to see. I'm sure they do their focus groups. They don't want to see an alcoholic on screen because some
Especially
kids
if-
live
that's
that.
right.
So
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially if they have one at home.
yeah, so I imagine their focus group said, "Don't do that. No demon in a bottle storyline. Just have him get
Probably
drunk because
that.
just have him get
But-
drunk because he is thinking he's dying and he wants to have a good last birthday."
Well, I know what you're saying too, but I'm pretty sure they said forward for that. It's boring because having a man drink and lay on the couch and like sleep and it's not very exciting.
Just 2
Yeah.
hours
Just
of a grown man sobbing, walking around his.
he's
His
just in
bathrobe.
Yeah, he's in his PJs in a tank top, just drinking a whole bottle of Tito's.
He just cuts
all
to him
handled.
walking the middle of a main highway, crying with a bottle. He does.
It's so sad.
He used to go to AA meetings.
Yes, I think you made the
Yeah.
joke, the AA initiative.
He gets pulled
Yeah,
over
she'll-
for drunk driving his Iron Man suit.
Yeah, Coulson's his sponsor.
Oh god, that'd be terrible.
He's trying to fly, but he can't, so he crashes into some building. They have to,
Imagine
arrest him,
Shield
gets a ticket.
implements a breathalyzer in his helmet. He can't fly it if his BAC is over .08. Oh my
Dude, I
god.
feel like we have such good ideas, and we're wasting it away in this podcast.
What else? What else?
Well, I guess they recasted Rhodey. I did want to talk about Terrence
Jeez
Howard.
Whiz. Yes, talk about Terrence Howard.
So, for people who don't know or not in the know, Terrence Howard's kind of crazy.
As
He-
most actors are.
Yes, but I think he's in his own league of craziness because he, for some reason, thinks he's this math genius and is rediscovering new techniques in math. He posted a proof on why 1 times 1 should equal 2. Like, he unironically posted a
What?
proof. Unbalanced equation arguments. 1 times 1 does not equal 1, it equals 2 by Terrence and Howard. And his little manifesto of why 1 times 1 should equal 2 instead of 1.
I thought you were going to talk about him being recasted, not him doing whatever this is. I don't know what to call it. Delusion.
He calls it, I don't know if he calls it that, but it's called Teriology. Terrence Howard.
No way! No way!
Yes. I recommend you read the manifesto because it's hilariously awful.
Manifesto?
Well, it's not a manifesto. I'm calling it the manifesto.
Oh,
It's
oh.
like ancient. You're talking about like the ancient Mediterraneans, how they talked about math and stuff. It's hilariously bad because you ever seen mathematical proofs? They usually make sense. This does not make sense at all. Like you don't have to be, take a high level math class to understand this. I mean, this is very basic associative and commutative properties of addition and multiplication. He also tried to disprove the Pythagorean theorem, which is hilarious because it's been almost 3,000 years old or something. It's a very old theorem.
What is wrong with him?
Yes, he disproved the Pythagorean theorem, even though there's easy geometric proofs to prove it. I mean, you ever see in class like they have the 3 sides to the square, they just like move the liquid around to show that the two areas are equal.
Well, Craig, I don't think he went to school then. Teriology, that's crazy.
How much are his classes?
Oh,
It just, I've never actually delved into his math claims. And apparently, he went on the Joe Rogan podcast and tried to prove his claims, but obviously he can't prove anything.
did Joe Rogan laugh at his face?
I never saw it, but I was reading about his mathematical
Well,
proofs, and I was
right.
trying to prove it to the world.
Let me stop you right there. The AI overview says that Howard has stated that he's keeping his teriology secret until he patents it.
You can't patent mathematical proofs.
Teriology.
Yeah, teriology with a Y. He claims to have developed a new language of symbols and concepts, which he calls teriology, to support his mathematical theories. What? I don't even. These actors these days, I don't even know what to say to that.
Because if you look at the last part of his proof, he says if 1 times 1 equals 2, then 1 times 2 equals 3, 1 times 3 equals 4, and he goes to infinity and beyond.
To infinity and beyond.
Again, it's a very basic lack of understanding of basic associative. Like multiplication is this unit this many times. 1 unit 1 time is just 1 unit. 1 unit 2 times is 2 units. I mean, it's something you learn in probably elementary school.
But Craig, you never learned teriology, though.
I've taken graduate math classes.
You haven't taken Teriology 101.
I've done stuff that makes people cry. And this idiot thinking he's discovered
This
math.
this sounds like someone wrote for a sitcom, like a crazy neighbor who started a cult to the main characters. They just moved in on the street.
Oh, I mean,
yeah.
this the
Our
beginning of
neighbors
the
are
cult
into
stuff.
this new thing called teriology. It's run by some guy named Terry.
What a coincidence.
What a loser. I don't even know what to say to that.
Teriology.
It's
The name
just
is the best
hilariously
part of it
stupid.
all.
Yeah, you'd think it would have some super elegant mathematical name, but no, it's just his name, ology.
Like, you ever see the proof for Euler's formula? It's a very simple proof for a very powerful equation, but obviously the real derivation, if you look at like the history of mathematical proofs, it's much different. But the point is, his reads off like a crazy manifesto because nothing makes sense talking about the history of, I don't know, ancient whatever. Man's clearly insane. And to get to the point of the podcast is that he was obviously fired from Iron Man 1, and I can understand why posting weird stuff like that, I'd probably want to fire the man too, or at least strangle him for posting stuff like that. It's clearly insane.
Yeah. He is a crazy person, and Rhodey is not so much a memorable role as we talked about. I did like him in the first Iron Man, but it's not like, I don't know, the character is super memorable.
I've never been a fan of War Machine,
Yeah, well, he's just an Iron Man clone, but bulkier.
but he's a military guy.
Yeah. But his suit is, I believe in the comics, his suit is inferior to Tony's.
I've never been a fan because he comes off like I've said this before. I don't like sidekick characters who have the same powers
Yeah.
or the hand-me-down suit.
Well, I think his is a hand-me-down, too, so he's just getting the scraps.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah.
So you didn't like Falcon's Falcon?
No. I think we said that in our review. We didn't like that guy. Well, Rhodey has his one-liners, but again, I just
And this teriology.
I hate the Cheese Whiz line so much. I know
Buff
we were not
Wingate.
there for a while. I
mean, the
hate
fact
that
that
line so
The
much.
fact that it exists is bad enough, but the moment it comes at is unforgivable.
Well, this is before Rhodey turns into a scroll or is replaced by a scroll. So this is the original, authentic Rhodey before he gets abducted and the scroll Rhodey sees Tony die and all those events. So the scroll Rhodey gets his legs paralyzed, or is that the scroll?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because then the scroll would have to keep up appearances where he is a paraplegic with those leg braces, the robo legs. I can't imagine it'd be fun for the scroll having to wear those restrictive things. Yeah. Anything else about Iron Man 2?
So this is probably what starts the most famous couple in the MCU when now Tony and Pepper are a thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was hinted in the first movie, and I don't know in the comics. Are they a thing in the comics? I'm assuming.
Not at all. I think she actually marries Happy Hogan.
Really? Not at all.
Yeah. Not at all. I mean, they probably, again, this is a lot of my knowledge is pre MCU, so
Really?
probably they're together now. But
Yeah, because everything wants to align itself with the MCU.
but originally, yeah, she married Happy Hogan.
Really?
Really?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so her and Tony weren't really a thing. That's why I was wondering if maybe you had any thoughts on it because I don't know if that upset people back in the day. She's not supposed to end up with Tony, she's supposed to end up with Happy Hogan. But I like Happy Hogan as our miserable security guard.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Pepper and Happy divorce after she has an affair with a former college boyfriend. God,
Jesus.
Pepper.
Belongs to the streets.
Stark does have an affection for her, but it becomes a love triangle between Happy and Tony. But she eventually falls in love and marries Hogan, eloping with him in Tales of Suspense number 91. She appeared in Tales of Suspense number 45, so it happens pretty fast, I guess. I had no idea.
Yeah, the more you know. Well, again, because Tony never really got with anybody long term. I don't know if because his love interests were never he never really had tied someone down. Someone never tied him down. It was always just tons of people.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Because
I
other
mean, his
characters had like
longest,
more famous
I
woman, like
I
Bruce
think his
Banner and
longest
Betty.
relationship was with the bottle.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I say because like most characters have like some romantic love interest, like Bruce Banner and Betty Ross. You got Thor and Jane Foster, and Sif. Really, Sif should be the main one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Captain America and I think was it Peggy Carter, but then it was Sharon Carter. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp. But the point is, like, everyone's got like their most famous love interest. Iron Man never really had one. He's always had all these flings. So him, settling down with Pepper was kind of a big deal. It shook the community.
I mean, I didn't mind. I guess you know what it is. I know where the relationship leads now, and I saw both those movies after the Avengers. I think I didn't see the first Iron Man in theaters at all. Or you know what? I think I lied, Craig. I think you and I did an MCU-athon before the Avengers came out in 2012. So I think maybe that was the first time I saw both movies. But the point is, I don't know. That contradicts what I said. I guess I don't know. I guess I was always accustomed to them being a thing where at the time I didn't really care. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's generally a good thing. I mean, people, when you get in relationships, are you supposed to mature and grow up and
Yeah.
think about more important things? So him getting with Pepper isn't, I don't really see what the big deal is.
Was
And
it?
I think it was a big deal at the time.
Was it though? Did people really care that much?
I think so, because I think it was more shocking at the time that he,
I guess now people are just used to it because it's the MCU.
yeah, I mean, didn't care either way.
Yeah.
I never gave a second thought to it.
Well, here I am thinking you guys are going to be so upset.
All right. Is there anything else?
Well, I know with this movie, I know it wasn't received well, but still is kind of important because movies like Thor 2, you can kind of forget about. The first Hulk, I guess you can kind of forget about as well. But this one, it's hard to forget about because it introduced so many characters.
Yeah.
Nick Fury's big appearance, you have Black Widow's first appearance. Obviously, the new War Machine, Pepper and Tony get together. That Senator Stern guy comes back. I always love the ending too, where Agent Coulson's back. I always love the ending where he has to give Tony the medal.
Oh yeah, he just really sticks it in his chest.
Yeah, Tony getting the last laugh.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's not too good, but in the grand scheme of things, it is important. But I think the problem with the Hulk is that those characters kind of got phased out, except General Ross. Like any emotional attachment to the character Bruce was never brought back like Betty. So
Or
that's
Doc
how,
Samson.
or Doc Samson, or the leader up until the Captain America Brave New World. But yeah, it seems like they forgot about the Hulk movie, or maybe they wanted to forget about it. I don't know. But this one is pretty important.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. Anything else about Iron Man 2? Would you
Do you
say?
think they'll,
Oh
do
yeah.
you think do you think they'll ever bring back Ivan's real bird at some point?
I was back for
Oh,
Avengers.
I remember what I was
It's
gonna
actually
say.
a scroll.
I thought
Oh
the
my
last
God.
fight between Whiplash and Iron Man and Rhodey was incredibly underwhelming.
I mean, yeah, the cool shot in destroying the drones was cool, but yeah, fighting Vanka was so underwhelming. He just like throws him against the rock and all right,
They blow him up. Yeah, I guess you could argue the big action set piece was him fighting all the drones, but then you hype up this guy, or I should say, you try to hype up this guy, and then he shows up in a bigger suit with a helmet with giant whiplashes, and he gets killed in a minute.
A helmet that he
Can retract
immediately.
really fast,
Yeah, well, but he also doesn't wear his helmet. So what's the point of having the helmet?
just so they could see it's him, I guess. Because they would probably have been like, "Who is that?"
So probably like it's another drone too, because he sent drones after them.
Yeah.
Oh, he pulls out those the big whips.
How come he didn't make a suit for his bird? Give his bird little whiplashes too.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, the movie. Besides that, it was just it's a mess. It's not Thor: Love and Thunder levels of mess, but I think, dare I say, I think Hulk is better than this.
I was actually inclined to agree on the rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is I would say C tier. I didn't really like this one too much.
So would you put Hulk B tier?
Yeah, I guess. We'll come. This will be an ever evolving tier list.
Should
But
we
as
do
of
an
now,
actual tier list?
I think I'll put. Well, I'll do a tier list when we do Endgame. Whenever we get to that, I'll have the tier list at the end. But I think right now I'll have Iron Man in A or S, maybe S, and then I'll have Hulk maybe in. I don't know. I feel like D tier is too harsh. This doesn't belong in the D tier. Like, it's not unwatchable or F tier. I don't know.
So what do you guys think of the Elon Musk cameo?
Yeah, I forgot he was in there. Bill O'Reilly was in there.
Well, I just think the Elon Musk cameo is funnier because I think they're trying to like portray him as the real life Iron Man, and this is what you don't do with people who are alive because I know there's a lot more controversy around him now, but people do today. It's not really as exciting. Like I know people are trying to like immortalize Robert Oppenheimer now, but again, what these people do really isn't that exciting compared to the comic books.
Yeah, and plus they had Stan Lee as Hugh Hefner.
No, Larry King.
Oh, that was the first movie. Oh,
Yeah,
He was Larry King in this one though.
yeah.
yeah, see,
Okay.
yeah, Colin doesn't know his MCU trivia, but he knows his Marvel Ultimate Alliance
Yes,
trivia.
if this was a Marvel to Alliance trivia, I would have got
If it was a multiple choice,
Yeah, he was the first movie. This was Larry. He did look like Larry King, except I think Larry King was more hunched over than Stan Lee. Yeah, final thoughts?
I feel like I shouldn't like this movie as much as I did, but Robert Downey Jr. and
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, it's more enjoyable than I feel like how the movie actually is. So
Yeah.
I would say it's enjoyable. It's mid, but enjoyable.
Craig?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I agree along the same lines. It's mid, it's got its issues, but the performances of Iron Man and Justin Hammer carry the movie so hard. I mean,
Yes.
any scene that they're not in it, I feel like it's almost like it's not worth watching.
Yeah. It is not a disaster, but as my co-hosts have said, it is Iron Man and Sam Rockwell saved the movie. Yeah, that's really it. With all that being said, this has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
My bird.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm his bird.
We will see you next time.